The first race of the weekend at Zandvoort, and Jordan Pepper on pole position for the first time in only his fourth weekend as a DTM driver. Alongside him for the start of the race on row one was Maro Engel, but off the start the weather would play its part. Rain just before the race and most of the cars starting on wet tyres. A great start from Luca Engel from third, drawing immediately alongside the Mercedes of Maro Engel and getting straight into second place. Engel then running wide and losing another place to the green Porsche of Ayhancan Güven. Ricardo Feller was next to go on the attack in the Land Motorsport Audi. Into turn three, it was three abreast and contact between Engel and Feller. Engel just about fending off the Swiss driver. Tom Callender, having qualified in the top 10, came in early and put slick tyres on because the rain had stopped and the track was already beginning to dry. So gamble for the young Landgraf Motorsport driver. Also switching to slick tyres early were Max Powell and Nicky Tim in their respective Lamborghinis. And after a few laps, having been several seconds a lap slower than those on wet tyres, they would soon be much quicker than those on the wets, but they would still have to make a mandatory pit stop for the first 20 minutes of the race. A spectacular moment for Timo Glock as he lost a tyre after contact with the Aston Martin of Gilles Debru. A high-speed incident at over 230 kilometres an hour. And the German driver did a fantastic job of saving the car from going into the gravel trap or even the barriers. At a high-speed moment, smashing into the advertising hoarding, sideways with one wheel through the gravel over the mud, but somehow, with only 3 tyres left on the car, the German driver, ex-Formula 1 racer, with lightning reactions to save the car. It would, though, unfortunately be the end of his race, and the Motorsport driver retiring another pointless race for the German. Meanwhile, there's a good battle developing for 6th place, with Lucas Auer under attack from Maurice Skuring, the Dutch driver having had his best qualifying so far, and they were both catching Ricardo Feller in the Land Motorsport Audi. Thomas Preining also getting in the mix. He was the quicker of the 4, got past the first 2, and then this move to get alongside the Audi coming out of turn 3 of Ricardo Feller, and the 2023 champion starting to charge through the field. This move putting him up to 5th place on board with Ricardo Feller. Powerless to do anything about the Austrian coming through, but able to keep the other Austrian championship leader Lucas Auer behind him. Then, as soon as the pit window opened, everybody came in because dry tyres were now the option. They wanted to get rid of the wets, and it was chaos in the pit lane. On his exit, Luca Engel clipped one of the wheels of the Schubert BMW. That knocked over one of the mechanics. Lucas Auer in the thick of the action, and side by side ahead, Jules Gounon and Gilles Debru for an unsafe release. The driver second in the championship, Gounon, would end up getting a penalty. There were more drivers going side by side down the pit lane as well. Into the pits then for the pole sitter and race leader. He stayed out a bit later than everybody else, but there was a drama and a slow pit stop for the Grasser Racing team, costing the South African around about 6 seconds and costing him a chance of a podium. Out he went. Then, of course, having switched to slick tyres, it started to rain again. Ayhancan Güven, though, had moved into the net lead of the race. He was the leading pit stopper, having won his first DTM race in the opening weekend of the season at Oschersleben. He got out ahead of Jordan Pepper, who then dropped further down the field. Dropping way down the field, the blue BMW of René Rast, losing it at turn 1 at Tarzan, straight on and into the barriers. But the 3-time champion got the car going again, taking with him an absolute ton of gravel and damage to the front corner of his Schubert machine. And then Max Powell came out in front of Ayhancan Güven, but with his tyres yet to get up to temperature, he had to concede the position to the Turkish driver in the green Porsche. But there was no doubt about it, Max Powell's decision to go onto slick tyres for the first part of the race had ultimately paid off, and he was now coming from the middle of the grid up to a podium challenging position. But there will be no podium for Thierry Vermeulen. The Dutch driver out of the race with a problem. He'd had a spin coming out of the pits, had been collected by fellow Dutch driver Maurice Skuring on his exit, and then a couple of laps later, with a technical problem, the Ferrari unfortunately retired from the race. One of the other drivers to opt to take the slicks early then was Nicky Tim. He'd had a torrid weekend up until this point, off the pace in the dry in free practice, off the pace in the qualifying session for Sunday's race, but it was all coming together here. Decent pit stop from Abt, and the Danish driver would come out onto the track now in a podium paying position. As he left the pit lane, the Aston Martin a lap down came through, and then he had to wait a long time to see the first of the pit stoppers. That was Ayhancan Güven in the green Manthey EMA Porsche. takes a lap to get the tyres up to temperature in the best of circumstances, but on a damp track it takes even longer. The gap soon came down, and Ayhancan Güven knew he had to pounce now. It was now or never if he wanted to win the race, and that he did, just getting through in time before the yellow flag signalling the danger area where the Ferrari of Vermeulen had stopped. The stewards looked at it, but it was okay. And then another off for René Rast. Rarely do you see René going off the road, but twice in the race. The BMW carrying some damage, which can't have helped, but he will start race 2 on pole position. The safety car out then, because Rast was going nowhere, and more drama to come. Güven, the race leader, second place Tim from 16th on the grid, and Max Powell there in third place, looking to get Powell Motorsport's first ever podium in the championship. Max himself, a previous race winner, was under attack from Maurice Schuring, who was going for a podium position in the orange Porsche. He went on the attack around the outside, ran out of room. Luca Engstler got through, and also getting through was Luca Sauer. A bit of contact then between Jordan Pepper in the Lamborghini and Schuring. Schuring dropped back, and then this very wide, leery moment for Ricardo Feller, almost into the barrier, having gone wide and onto the very muddy grass. It was a good job by the Swiss driver, a former race winner here at this circuit, to avoid the barriers, but he did drop down the order, and will have to start race 2 in the back of the grid after a poor qualifying on Friday afternoon. So Ayhancan Güven on the way to a victory. He's second of the season, the second driver to get 2 wins. Ayhancan Güven taking the victory, Nicky Tim with an unlikely second place, and that the first podium for the Abt team with the Lamborghini Huracan, and a brilliant drive from Max Powell as well to complete the podium, his second podium in the DTM and the first ever for the Powell Motorsport team. There was no doubt about it, the man of the day was Ayhancan Güven, a second victory of the season, and the points moving up to second place in the championship behind Luca Sauer. So race 1 complete, Güven, Tim, Powell on the podium, Engstler, Auer and Schuring rounding out the top 6. A dramatic race here at Zandvoort.